What is the difference between Santa Claus and Saint Nicholas? Are they the same person? Or over time, has one been transformed into another, but that it wasn't always so? Well, today I'm going to reveal to you who is the true Saint Nicholas and who is Santa Claus. Of course, we know that all around the world, everybody, all of the children wait on the 25th of December to receive their presents from Santa Claus. But was this always so? Actually, this is a recent tradition that started in more or less the 18th century. And before that, on December 6th, which is the day that we celebrate Saint Nicholas, who was the famous Bishop of Myra and one of the most famous saints. After Our Lady, he is one of the most known saints, and he is one of the saints that people have most devotion to, Saint Nicholas of Myra. We celebrate his feast day, his memory, on the 6th of December. And it was on that day that often many bishops in their cities, because Saint Nicholas, he had a long white beard, he was an elderly man, he was of noble stature, he was from a wealthy family, and he would live giving to the poor, giving to those in need. There is one anecdote from his life, for example. One father had 3 daughters, and you're not going to believe it, this father went poor, and he couldn't have his children, his 3 daughters married. He needed a dowry for them. And so he was actually willing to give them up to do awful lives, to live an awful life of shame and sin so that they could provide for themselves. Rather than giving them up to marriage, he couldn't do it. He had no money. And Saint Nicholas, the bishop of Myra, he heard of this, and what did he do? So he was a very wealthy man. He had inherited all of his family's wealth. One day at night, he went by that house and he took a sack of gold, a lot of golden coins wrapped up in cloth, and he threw it through the man's window. Of course, the next morning, the man found the gold and he was able to have his first daughter married. But he didn't know where the gold came from. He gave thanks to God. He said, "What a miracle. God provided me with gold. I can have my first daughter married." And afterwards, Saint Nicholas, he, on another occasion, threw another sack of gold through the man's window. And this happened the second time. Once again, the daughter became married. But the third time, the man said, "No, I have to find out who's helping me. Who is this man so I can thank him?" And he kept on the watch, and he saw that it was Saint Nicholas, the Bishop of Myra, who was giving him his gold so that his daughters could be married. And he went over, he tried to thank him. Saint Nicholas tried to flee. The man almost caught up to him, but he in his humility, he fled from the scene. This is one of the legends that we know about Saint Nicholas. He is also a patron of sailors, because he one day appeared. The sailors were in a great tempest. They couldn't handle the boat, the rudder. They didn't know what to do, so they invoked Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas appeared. He took hold of the rudder, and he brought them to safety. So he is also actually known as the patron saint of sailors as well. Yes, this is the great Saint Nicholas. So what is the difference? How did Saint Nicholas become Santa Claus? Is Santa Claus really Saint Nicholas? Actually, Saint Nicholas, he would always, like I was saying before, would give to the poor, and he would give presents to children. But why would he give presents to children? He would give presents to children as a reward for virtue. So when the children who attended his catechism classes or his preaching, when they paid attention, when they did well in their studies and they progressed, Saint Nicholas would often reward them with a present. And those children who didn't do so good, unfortunately, above all, who weren't very well behaved, he would give charcoal. So that's where the tradition comes of giving presents on and this was actually on St. Nicholas's Day that this tradition continued through the course of history up until recently. Even in today's world, in some countries, on the 6th of December, I think even in Holland, they actually put Dutch shoes, those big wooden shoes, and they fill them with chocolates for the boys and girls on St. Nicholas's Day on the 6th of December. So this is an ancient tradition from the 4th century, 5th century that up until our days continues to exist. And but the most important thing is that it was a reward for virtue. It was something to help those children grow in virtue, for them to realize that good acts are rewarded by God, and to aid them in the progression of virtue, to bring them closer to our Lord Jesus Christ, to the sacraments, to the church. And that was the great mission of St. Nicholas, the Bishop of Myra. Now, Santa Claus, was actually introduced more recently, and it was transferred from the 6th of December to Christmas Eve, to Christmas Day, the 25th of December. And on that day, now we all receive presents on Christmas Day. So that's the difference between Santa Claus and St. Nicholas. The Santa Claus is actually based on a god named Thor. Thor was a god whose element was fire, and this, from tradition, Thor would come down the chimneys, and he would, because the fire from the chimneys, he would come down the chimneys because that was his element, and he was a god that was friendly to man. He would help the poor as well, and so this Santa Claus is actually based on the god Thor, and a name Santa Claus is one of the translations of the name Saint Nicholas in other languages. So that's the difference between Santa Claus and Saint Nicholas. Well, there's much more to know, but I've already passed the time of this video, so we'll have to maybe leave it for another occasion. Let me know what you think in your comments below. If you have any questions, maybe we can do another video talking more about Saint Nicholas and his miracles, or even more about Santa Claus. But what's most important is that we teach our children, that parents may teach their children, and that virtue is very important, that God rewards virtue. That is what St. Nicholas did. Unfortunately, many times we want to just make the children or make other people happy, but without a supernatural charity, which is the true charity, the love of God. Well, may St. Nicholas bless all of you, and we look forward to seeing you in our next program, Following the Saints. Salve Maria.